Bang! Crash! From the back of the room, there was a loud pop, followed by the sound of something falling. I rushed into the room and found my mom slumped on the floor, her cheek swollen. My anger surged as I saw my brother casually waving his hand, completely unrepentant. Is this how you treat the mother who raised you all on her own? Not only does he refuse to work and hide away from the world, but now he's hitting her too? I have to protect her from him. I wrapped my arm around her small shoulders and led her out of the room. My name is Sheena. I'm 35 and I work in a restaurant. I live happily with my loving husband and our young daughter. My husband and I met while I was working at my current job. He was a regular customer and we got to know each other outside of work before eventually getting married. My in-laws are wonderful people and we've built a stable relationship with just the right amount of space. But what really worries me is my mom back home. My dad died when I was little and my mom raised me and my brother by herself. Now that I have a child of my own, I finally understand how difficult it must have been for her to juggle work and raising us alone. My grandma, who might have helped, had already passed away, and back then, there weren't many support systems for single mothers. I am so grateful to my mom for raising 2 kids on her own during that time. She worked hard until she was 65, and even now in her 70s, she still works part-time. She's still pretty energetic, but she's getting older and there's no changing that. Plus, my brother still lives with her. Just hearing that a son lives with his elderly mother might make most people think, oh, what a good son, taking care of his mom. But with my brother, it's not that simple. The truth is, he's a shut-in. When my dad died, I was 5 and my brother was 10. He was always quick-witted and had a great memory, so he picked up reading, writing, and math early. Because of that, adults around us used to call him a prodigy. They were even considering sending him to a prestigious private school, but then the accident happened and Dad died. Even though we got some insurance money, we had to cut back on our lifestyle, and my brother's private school plans were canceled. That's when he started complaining about everything. He'd say things like, I can't buy what I want anymore, or I wanted to go to a better school, or even, why can't mom just remarry and fulfill her responsibilities? The list goes on. Sure, it was tough losing a parent during those teenage years, and I sympathize with that, but taking it out on our mom was just wrong. Even as a kid, I could see that our parents had a very loving relationship. Now that I'm older, I can imagine just how devastating it must have been for my mom to lose the man she loved. I think the reason she never remarried is that she loved my dad that much. She still wears his wedding ring on a necklace, never taking it off. Even though she must have been heartbroken, she didn't have time to grieve. She worked day and night to make sure we were taken care of. Thanks to her, our standard of living didn't drop too much, and we never went without food or shelter. I wanted to take some of the financial burden off her. So as soon as I started high school, I got a part-time job. Meanwhile, my brother went off to a state university after graduating high school. And then when my brother got into college, he started to flaunt it and mock our mom, who only had a high school diploma, and me, who wasn't good at studying. Even though he got in on scholarship thanks to his grades, he didn't work part-time and instead spent his time playing around. When he started asking our mom for pocket money, I spoke up against it, but my brother just sneered.
Like you and Mom, I've got a guaranteed future. You should be grateful that my brilliance got me a cheap education, and it's only fair that I get a little spending money to enjoy my college life.
Although our mom never compared us, she was clearly proud of him. It seemed like she was willing to give him whatever he needed to focus on his studies. Pampered at home and praised at school, my brother finally hit reality when he started job hunting. He realized he wasn't as special as he thought. His condescending attitude was exposed during interviews, and he ended up getting rejected in every final round. In the end, he graduated without a single job offer. Since then, he's been living at home, becoming a recluse, and taking on the ironic title of house security officer. Just when I thought things would get easier, he started shutting himself in. I couldn't bear to let Mom carry the burden alone anymore, so I started working right after high school. Although Mom felt bad about it, I wasn't good at studying anyway, so I didn't regret my decision to work. But every time I went to work, my brother would sneer.
Running away from college exams, huh? Sure, it's fine for now, but you're going to regret being stuck in a low-paying job later.
I snapped back. At least I'm working. You graduated, so why aren't you?
The problem is that companies don't recognize my talents. Besides, the whole employment system is broken.
And then he would go off and complain about society. It would have been more convincing if he had at least tried to get a job instead of just hanging around the convenience store sometimes. I was so tired of listening to him. A few years passed. After moving from part-time to full-time work, I met my husband. He was the complete opposite of my brother, an elite working at a top company. But he never judged people by their education or appearance. We grew closer and eventually started dating. After 2 years, he proposed and we got engaged. I was happy, but I worried about how he'd react to my brother. His family welcomed me warmly and I felt confident about our future. But my brother, when I brought my fiancé home for the first time, I was so nervous. Thankfully, my brother didn't come out of his room, and Mom was thrilled about the engagement. I finally breathed a sigh of relief as I saw him off. But just then, my brother appeared in his pajamas.
Nice to meet you. My name is Alex, and I'm dating your sister. I look forward to getting to know you better.
He greeted my brother with a smile, but my brother just gave him a once-over and sneered.
What? Did you settle for a bald guy because you're scared of being alone?
My face flushed with embarrassment and anger. Just as I was about to say something, my fiancé gently stopped me. He smiled and lightly tapped his own forehead.
Yeah, I've got a lot of insecurities. Honestly, I'm surprised someone as lovely as your sister chose me. But I'll do everything I can to make her happy.
He said. I planned to make her happy as he took out his business card and handed it to my brother.
I've heard a lot about you from her. Just to introduce myself, here's my card.
My brother took the card with one hand, gave Alex a quick glance, and then looked at him again with a forced smile. On the card was the name of the company where my brother had been rejected over a decade ago. Frustrated, he went upstairs to his room and closed the door violently. He chuckled and said,
I guess I was being a little sarcastic.
Don't mind, I'm sorry if he made you uncomfortable.
It's okay, really. I'm used to it.
But saying something like that to someone he just met? It could be a deal breaker for the engagement. Feeling regret and anxiety, I hung my head, but Alex gently patted it.
It's all right. No matter what, I love you and I'm on your side.
The warmth of his hand made me feel a twinge in the back of my nose. After that, my brother never showed up in front of Alex again, perhaps because his pride was wounded by the business card. He didn't even come to our wedding, and eventually I moved out. My mom was happy to see me go, but I couldn't help feeling uneasy about leaving her alone with my brother. So after discussing it with my husband, we decided to live in an apartment about 30 minutes away from my childhood home. It was close to my husband's work, and I figured I could visit my mom once a week. During busy periods, we'd have my mom come to us for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas rather than risking my brother getting upset by us visiting. It became our tradition to take her out to a nice restaurant twice a year. In this way, I hardly saw my brother anymore, and then we had our first child. My in-laws and my mom were overjoyed by the birth of their first grandchild. Even though my brother must have heard the news through my mom, he didn't react at all. With the chaos of adjusting to life with a newborn, I found myself visiting my mom less and less. Weekly visits turned into bi-weekly ones, and then, as I returned to work and our daughter started daycare, it became more like once a month. Eventually, we almost stopped going altogether. The last time we went, my brother scared our daughter so badly that she burst into tears. No matter how much I scolded him, he wouldn't stop, so I decided that she wouldn't see him again. From then on, even on holidays, we had my mom come to us. Even though I couldn't visit often, I could at least call her regularly, and that was enough for a while. My mom said that after I stopped visiting, my brother seemed to relax more and even brought home a brochure from the employment office. I thought he was trying to help support our mom in his own way. But it didn't take long before my mom's phone calls started to include more sighs and complaints.
When is he going to find a job?
Didn't he make a resume the other day?
Yes, he did, but no, it's okay. As long as he hasn't gotten on his own feet, it's my duty as his mother to support him.
What do you mean? It was like she was trying to comfort herself with those words. Noticing something off in her tone, I asked my mom about it, and she lowered her voice to continue.
It's nothing serious, really.
Apparently, while my brother says he's job hunting, he's just lying around on the couch all day, not even touching the employment office brochures or his resume. All he does is eat, sleep, watch TV, and fiddle with his phone, that's it.
And when I asked him to help with the housework, he just kept scrolling on his phone and said, I'm too busy looking for a job to help right now.
Oh, Mom, you might not be too familiar with this, but a lot of people these days do job hunting online with their phones.
Is that so? Does the job hunting website make those little noises when you level up?
Mom, that's a game. Here I was trying to be reassuring, but it turns out I was just being foolish.
He even asked me for money to spend on in-game purchases. I figured since he's not working, I might as well give him some allowance.
He's a grown man and he's asking his retired mom for pocket money? Unbelievable. I was shaking my head in disbelief when my mom added something else.
But there's more.
As I listened carefully, I heard a door open in the distance.
But I know he'll get a job someday. Until then, as his mother, I just have to keep supporting him. And you make sure to take care of yourself too, okay?
With those words, my mom hastily ended the call. The unease in her voice left me feeling anxious. Things were getting worse, so I tried calling my brother, but he wouldn't pick up. Eventually, he blocked my number, and I was fuming. After that, my mom's calls became less frequent. When she did call, it was brief, and she'd hang up quickly. I noticed a few weeks later that she'd nearly stopped calling altogether. She used to call every other week, but now no matter how many times I called her, she wouldn't answer. Concerned, I talked to my husband about it.
Maybe she's just busy with the holidays. It's almost New Year's, and maybe she's preparing for that. Don't worry, we're going over there the day after tomorrow anyway. We can check on her then. Remember last time? You couldn't reach her, and it turned out to be nothing.
I nodded, reassured by his words, and decided we'd head over on New Year's morning. On New Year's Day, we drove back to my childhood home as a family. And wait here. I'll go get Mom, I told Alex, and our daughter, as I approached the front door. But as soon as I touched the door, it swung open. Not wanting to run into my brother, I hurried inside to get my mom. But as I was taking off my shoes, I heard a loud bang and the sound of something falling. Panicked, I rushed into the room and saw my mom on her knees on the floor and my brother standing nearby. Mom, are you okay? My face went pale as I ran to her side. Her right cheek was swollen and red. My brother just stood there swinging his hand as if it were nothing. You did hit Mom, didn't you?
She deserved it. This old hag had it coming.
He plopped down on a chair, grumbling to himself as he opened a beer. To summarize, Mom told him that if he didn't get a job by the end of the year, she'd kick him out. That's why he hit her.
She has no idea what it's like for someone with brains like me to be unemployed. How dare she talks like that?
What are you talking about? You don't even do any chores, let alone work.
Taking care of kids is a parent's job. One day as the oldest son, I'll have to look after her, so she should help me out for now.
You're 40 years old. What are you even saying? My anger kept building as he continued to act as if he was in the right. When have you ever taken care of anything? Even that beer in your hand and the food on the table were paid with Mom's pension and salary. Doesn't it bother you that while you're lazing around at home, Mom is out working part-time at over 70 years old? My throat was sore from yelling, but it didn't seem to get through to him at all. He just clicked his tongue in annoyance. It had been a long time since I seen him, and he had let himself go, overweight with an unkempt beard and long messy hair. It was clear he hadn't even tried to find a job. My brother had never been close to Mom, but I never thought he'd actually hit her. Upon closer inspection, I noticed some fresh scratches around the room. My mom's eyes looked hollow and resigned. Could this have happened before? I whispered softly to my mom.
Yes, it's not the first time. Usually he just takes his anger out on objects, but he's never done this before.
I could feel the heat of anger rising in my face. At the same time, I understood why my mom had been so frantic on the phone. Throwing your frustration like a child isn't acceptable. It's about time you grow up.
Shut up. You and Mom, with your high school diplomas, don't lecture me.
The way he yelled, spitting his anger, made him seem like a completely different person. It was painful to see how far he'd fallen. Why don't you just think about Mom for once?
Honestly, the allowance is too little. The housework is barely done, and she's been so nagging lately. It's getting annoying.
His eyes were cold as he looked at my mom with disdain. She appeared dejected and sad.
Hey, how about you just leave this house and move to a retirement home? It's called a retirement home, so it should be affordable with your small pension. I wasn't motivated to look for a job because of you. People's talents emerge when they're pushed to the edge.
Are you even listening to yourself? This house belongs to Mom.
What's the big deal? The New Year's coming up. It's the perfect time. In the end, it will be mine anyway. It's just a matter of when.
He continued with his nonsensical reasoning, snorting dismissively at us.
If you care so much about Mom, why don't you take her in yourself, instead of just taking her out on holidays or New Year's?
I didn't want Mom to hear any more of my brother's rude words. I forced a smile and said with determination, You're right. It's cruel to make Mom take care of a grown man with the mentality of a child. I'll gladly take care of her.
No, I can't impose that on you.
It's not an imposition. If I explained the situation, both my husband and I would be more than happy to welcome you, Mom. You have worked so hard for us, putting yourself second. I want you to enjoy your life as a woman now, not as a mother. Saying this, I reached out my hand and tears began to well up in Mom's eyes.
Thank you. I guess it's decided then. Get out of here and don't lay a hand on house furniture.
I shot a cold glance at my brother and quickly gathered Mom's belongings. We left the house. Mom's belongings were surprisingly few. It seemed that my brother had sold off her things online. Mom shook her head at my confusion and clutched her wedding ring pendant tightly, giving a weak smile.
As long as I have this, I'll be fine.
I hugged Mom's small shoulders and carried her things to the car. Seeing the once bright and vibrant Mom, now so shriveled and frightened by my brother, was unsettling. I regretted not coming sooner. My daughter, happy to see us, looked up from her toy and greeted Grandma with a big smile. Mom finally seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Grandma's here!
You took long? Was there any problems?
I will tell you. We got home and I talked to my husband about what had happened. He listened carefully, and though he didn't object to taking Mom in, he was worried.
I'm worried that your brother knows our address. He might come looking for money or cause trouble.
What should we do? We might have to consider the possibility of him coming here or even showing up. Then my daughter said, And we might take a plane. Grandma, let's take a plane together.
Huh? Are you taking a plane?
Mother is pressured by daughter's comments. Well, Mom, that is... Trying to cover for my daughter's comment with a wry smile, my husband and I exchanged grins. That's a good idea. Seeing that Mom hadn't caught on, my husband and I smiled warmly. We don't want Mom to be exploited any further. Please, listen to us, Mom. At first, Mom seemed hesitant about our plan, but eventually she nodded in agreement. We had to show that we wouldn't let that foolish brother, who took advantage of the mother who raised him with all her might, continue to get away with it. We quickly completed the necessary paperwork and boarded the plane. The seasons changed to summer and we went to visit the grave. Standing beside me, Mom looked her age, but was still well put together with a calm smile on her face. As we were about to leave after offering our respects, a loud voice yelled from behind us.
I found you.
Turning around, we saw my disheveled and dirty brother standing there. Oh, it's rare to see you here for a visit.
What are you doing?
As you can see, we're visiting Dad's grave. If you had come to offer a stick of incense, it would have been nice.
Shut up. How long do you think I've been waiting here? I want an explanation.
It's you who's being noisy. Waiting here is your own choice, and if you're silent, you can't explain yourself. His face turned red as he struggled to respond to my logical counter-arguments. Apparently, he had been waiting for us around the cemetery for days trying to contact us. It's understandable given the time of year, but to wait and ambush us like this? I had a pretty good guess why he was doing this, though I wasn't happy about this unexpected reunion. I said coldly, What's going on? It's been a while, hasn't it?
What's been a while? I've been trying to reach you. Why are you ignoring me?
Well, it can't be helped. If we didn't answer, it's because you weren't calling.
What do you mean?
We've moved to France.
Huh? You guys moved to France?
Yes, of course. My husband smiled and nodded in agreement. The cheerful mood was shattered by my brother's frustration. I exchanged glances with my husband and quietly took my daughter away from the scene.
What do you mean by that?
I turned back to my brother with a smile. Thank you for letting me take Mom. It solidified our decision to move.
What do you mean?
Well, there was an offer for my husband's job situation abroad, but our young child and leaving Mom behind made us hesitate. But since we decided to take her, we might as well move now.
You can't just decide something so easily. Even how can Mom abandon her son and move abroad? What a joke.
Seeing my brother's face turn towards Mom, I glared at him while suppressing a smile. Mom sighed quietly.
It's not something a grown adult should be whining about.
Surprised by my mother's rare display of determination, my brother looked like he had been hit with a stun grenade.
So, didn't you kick me out to make you work? If you have time to ambush us, maybe you should use that time to get a job and improve your situation instead. Shut up!
As soon as my brother raised his fist, Mom struck him in the chest with her cane. He lost his balance and crashed head first into Dad's grave.
Painful.
Clutching his head and crouching down, my mother looked down at my brother.
A friend I made in France taught me that. In these times, you need to be cautious with people. I didn't expect to use it on my own son, though.
Mom's initial weakness when we took her in was long gone. I couldn't help but applaud her. I had been worried about how Mom would cope with the move abroad, but her resolve once she had made up her mind was impressive. She helped with daily chores efficiently, even suggesting using her pension for the moving expenses. Though we appreciated her offer, we declined. However, Mom was adamant about her decision.
We're family and we'll be living together. My money is also your money. Use it as you need. If not now, then when will you save up?
Mom's firm words after raising us alone made my husband and me thank her in gratitude and accept her help. My brother, trembling with anger, seemed stunned by Mom's unexpected retaliation and glared at her without standing up.
How could you treat your son like this?
I told him, how could you treat your own mother so cruelly? Before he could respond, I continued, you wanted to kick her out, so now you have what you wished for. The house should be yours now.
What?
The house is old but has a good location. When we took in Mom, you were always talking about inheritance, so we processed the paperwork together. You remember that, right? Shortly after taking Mom in, my brother brought up various claims about inheritance. I had already been considering moving abroad, so with Mom's consent, I transferred the house's ownership to him. Mom's main asset was the house, and even though it was a bit unfair that my brother benefited more than Mom, it was worth it if it meant protecting her. It's up to you to decide how to use it, but if you're struggling, that's your own doing. We won't do anything more for you.
Wait, take me with you. You can get back in 15 minutes. Please go home.
The cemetery Mom chose was near the house, so there was no need to drive. As I turned my back, my brother grabbed my sleeve. When I tried to shake him off, he said,
I don't have anywhere else to go. I need a place to stay. I sold the house shortly after changing the ownership.
Mom was shocked. Her jaw dropped open.
At my age, working a part-time job is ridiculous. I tried to make a big comeback by borrowing money and investing in stocks. Stocks crashed and I ended up selling off electronics to cover the losses. Well, it can't be helped, so I sold the house. Now I have no place to live.
I heard that after selling the house and moving to another place, he sold almost everything he needed for daily life. It seems he had to take on more debt to cover daily expenses. I was so exasperated I couldn't even speak.
Help me, take me with you.
How can we take you? It's your own fault.
I'll figure something out if you give me $500.
I was trying to decide what to do with my brother trying to persuade me, but Mom and I quickly got into the car and drove off. On the way, we passed a black car. Looking through the rear window, I saw my brother surrounded by men who had just gotten out of the black car. Mom let out a big sigh and murmured weakly,
I wonder where things went wrong.
A year later, I ran into one of my brother's classmates at the cemetery and learned about his current situation. It turns out he had been begging for money from all his friends back then. However, most of his classmates were already settled with families and couldn't easily lend him money. They had blocked his calls and turned him away. Ultimately, he ended up being chased by debt collectors and is now working on a tuna fishing boat. He says it's the kind of work suited to his intellect, but now he's stuck in hard manual labor. It's a harsh environment, but hopefully it will straighten him out a bit. Meanwhile, my husband is working at the overseas headquarters, and I am working at a restaurant's overseas branch. Although we're not fluent, Mom and I use our middle school French to communicate. Mom seems to be enjoying her new environment, going out for tea and shopping with friends she made there. She also started a small kitchen studio and a lunch-making class, which has become quite popular in the neighborhood. Of course, we make sure to return to the US twice a year for home visits and grave visits. I hope Mom continues to live happily as she always has. That's how I feel I can repay her.